chapter 3. How will the NDC leadership offer a solution to COVID without a vision? We cannot afford to go back to the days of experimentation. The choice before the Ghanaian people is simple. We have decision and indecision. We have vision and a lack of vision. We have transparently leveraging our national endowments in the international economic financial space for accelerated development, or having it handed out to a brother. We invite governance partners, especially thought leaders and civil society influencers, to objectively debate the potential outputs and outcomes of novel initiatives. We welcome input that improves our capacity and ability to turn Ghana into the go-to hub that it can become. This thoughtful and decisive president that we have listens. He is sensitive to the needs of the Ghanaian people, providing education to an extra 100,000 Ghanaian children a year since he's been in charge. Children your mama believes should be on the streets. This thoughtful, decisive president takes risks for the future of your child, running a double-track system in the short term whilst preparing for the longer term with securitization of the GET fund for massive educational infrastructure. In contrast, your mama tells us you abolish the double-track system by completing E-blocks. How does the completion of E-blocks abolish double-track? The E-blocks are not in the double-track schools. They are in the bush. So tell us the correlation between completing E-blocks and the double-track schools. In any event, many schools are already going off the double-track system, thanks to the massive infrastructure developments that are taking place across all the double-track schools. Indeed, my friend Mustafa Abdul Hamid tells me his former school, Boku SHS, has just received the all clear to go off double-track anytime from when academic work resumes. So there is already a clear and systematic agenda to phase out the double-track system. Candidate Mahama, as usual, is late to the argument, and he's just following the wind. We are transforming agriculture, exporting 19 different products where you had us importing plantain. And you can find our exploits in agriculture on pages 41 to 49 of the manifesto. Remember you, your mama, building one expensive factory for which we are yet to produce a teaspoon of sugar. Page 23 to 38 of the manifesto will tell you, your mama, where we are with 1D, 1F, the program set out to revolutionize production for value addition, jobs, and incomes. So, Candidate Mahama, you got your opportunity and you blew it. You have nothing to offer the Ghanaian people. As for your excuse that you have learned your lessons and want an opportunity to correct them, it is important for you to realize that Ghana and Ghanaian lives cannot be used for experimentation. Happily, Candidate Mahama has been advised to tell us his mistakes and how he intends to correct them before making more promises he does not intend to keep. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, today, Ghana is the talk of the international community, thanks to the sterling leadership of President Akufo-Addo, leading to the development of fellow Ghanaians. We are on the move. It will be a tragedy if we should put this country in reverse gear by entrusting it into the hands of a person who is a self-confessed doubter, one who is never able to make his mind about anything, one who was so incompetent and corrupt, he ran a create, loot and share economy. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen of the media, through you, we are humbly asking Ghanaians to choose courageous, committed, competent, and passionate leadership over wishy-washy, flip-flopping, indecisive, and incoherent leadership. Akufo-Addo represents leadership of service that will transform Ghana for all. Vote for him to protect our progress. Thank you for coming.
Director, we'll plead you summarize it in chief for us a bit, if you can. With a great respect, shall we have the Director of Communication summarizing what he gave us in chief, please?
Edamwase say ene ye frɛ mo a mabɛkan ho na madaroma ye srɛ sɛ mo na mopunu a sese yɛte obiara ni da so ene mo covid ba yi obi hwehwɛ biribi atie o hwehwɛ biribi ahwɛ a ɛbɛka na dwene no wahwɛ ɛkwan obɛfa so ato aba a egyina deɛ mo bɛkyerɛ no ene deɛ mo bɛka ɛso nti yɛsrɛ mo sɛ omie nyina yɛnka mbom na yɛhwɛ sɛ papa ɛbɛda nneɛma pa adi na mobɛka ho asɛm na saa papa a ɛbɛda nneɛma pa adi no ne yɛkyerɛ sɛ yɛman mu ha amanyɔ kuo mmienu ɛna atena yɛakonnwa so abɛdu ɛnɛ ɛyɛ Fourth Republic yi a yɛwɔ mu yi MPP NDC na yɛkɔto aba yi da yɛsrɛ yɛman Ghana ɛne wɔn mom tu mu aba wɔn mo a ɛnom di dwa ama no ne ɛne obi a ɔka ho sɛ yɛnsese ne yɛnhwɛ deɛ obetumi ahwɛ man no so yie yɛ economy ne yie ɛkyɛn NDC ɛne nti wohwɛ a yɛman panyin kufoɔ ɔbaaeɛ NDC kura adeɛ yi mu ɔbɛsuo mu na ayɛ hepik otumi pagya te si yie pɛɛfa ngo ka ho a na nneɛma ɛkɔ so prom na yɛman panyin dada a ɛnɛ ɔso ɔsan pre de brɛ ɔbɛsuo mu ɔbɛboa a yɛman panyin ɔnyɛ no baabi kɔ mails a ɔno no nyame nkyɛ adeɛ sisi wadi kan nti papa yi nya ho ɛtena hɔ mfie mmienu na ɔna ɛyɛ command management team panyin ɔdaa no na mfie nsia obedi president saa mpansuo nom emu no ɔsan de yɛkɔ IMF adeɛ a kufoɔ gyisi hɔ no ɔsan sɛe no ɛmi yɛkɔ yɛkyi na awurade adom na nado danko Akufo-Addo mfie mmiɛnsa ɛne fa watimi asan abɛdane no asesa no nti deɛ nim ne sɛ yɛntimi mfa yɛni ɛnto dwɔmaama so dibra odi yɛ nyinaa wakyɛ ɛwɔ aban mi wɔ sɛ nkuwa hunu di aban amamu esitie no government official one na kyerɛ sɛ deɛ daa no a asɛm biara epie n'anim government official one dwɔmaama nso wɛ nyinaa akyi wantimi amfa yɛn ankoduru baabia ɛnneɛma saa bere no na ɔse ɔnye ndi yɛntimi nyɛ ɔbogu yɛ no ɛnɛ yɛyɛ nanado ɛyɛ ama ɔse yɛngya deɛ ɔyɛ no nanado no yɛnyini nsi nkyɛn na ɔno ɔnsan mesom na ɔnyɛ na deɛ a wonyi ndi adeɛ a woni hu nim deɛ ɛbɛdɛ ne yɛgya ama wo na wayɛ nti ɔn deɛ na manyo no ɔyɛ no mframa na ɛbɔ no kɔ ɛbɔ no kɔ ha na aho no kɔ ha nti nɛ no nanado mframa na ɛbɔ na watimi akyɛn sɛ nneɛma bi wɔ hɔ a yɛbɛtumi ayɛ no afei de wɔn so ahuri a wɔto nwom sɛ ɛneɛ ɔno so bɛtumi ayɛ nti yɛmfa ma no nyɛ hwɛ firi SHS adeɛ a na yɛ n'akyiwadeɛ koraa wɔyɛ advert bro aduanan sɛ ɛmma so ɛnyɛ yie ɛnɛ wɔsi yɛnya no ma ne mɛyɛ free SHS na ɔbɛ maintain na ade yɛaka kyerɛ sɛ yɛpɛ maintenance officer yɛpɛ president yɛmpɛ maintenance officer yɛpɛ kandini a obɛtumi de akɔ bɔhyɛ asase so na enyuma abakurum ha na ɛnyɛ yɛn nwanwa afi sɛ ɔno atwerɛ nwoma kyerɛ yɛn sɛ ɔno deɛ ɔsɔre anɔpa yɛ na ne yam hyehye no ontimi emfa no ho adwen ensi ginaye bia nti saa na odetna presidency ho ye presidency na ye ne said what bicycle so a break enka ho nyame ncha de ye kokromoti ebo break ma no ene wose ye nsan emfa no embra no metna saa bicycle no so no wonfa ye daachi papa we pa entu chacha pa we na ye say eba ne saa ebe ha o man no nti ye de yaboa ye ho ya ye hyehyeye ye de niema soronko bremo e ye manifesto mu ono ne manifesto osimu be ya afini na osimu so okotwere manifesto osimu ne ye kura ye mo ye nso da ye se ye betwere ye de wo so okobusa Ghana afa na nyina de on fa nhye manifesto no wo okobusa Ghana afa na de on fa nhye manifesto no na miku edi mfie aduowotwe e wa aban mu Fourth Republic yi wadi mu president ifie nsia wonim de Ghana fo pe afi no wokohwehwe omkohwehwe wie no de bre wa wagye ato ho se wo beda na di e na yen de ya twere manifesto yenim de ye ko ya twere manifesto e na ya tu din se de beto abonten e hwa na odi mirika beka se ono nso de ne de beto abonten afi de manifesto EPA ya omo de no people's manifesto na ayira yenti ye ni se wo mu duapo omu hye kukua mu duapo afi no omu eduedue ye manifesto no aduapo na se sei ye manifesto ya oduedue mu yi na kuma pa ye covid nhyehyeye eni kwan e be fa so a ye be sakira covid ne se de ni ye edi na se unim covid hunim de unim kwan a be fa so a e be ne wetumi atwere manifesto ya wie enti ye mondue manifesto no e be chepa ena ye de enye ho ne anida so mbetimi atwere manifesto so mde be da na dichina enye ho ne anida de anida ne de ya twere amamo no nti ya kire mu se niema bi wo ho a wo keka sese ya mframa de oso obeye no healthcare mframa de ye ya kire mu ba bia monko hunu wo manifesto no de oso obeye no transport sector mframa de ye no transport sector ya kire mu de eda ewo nguman mu nti monko kinkan nguman ya kire mu kwan de aye no kuyayom de aye no adwuma ye fiti industrialization yo mahama o ye factory baako osi obe fiti asichire se me no kasai obia ni Ghana ha wanu mo blayo konko cap baako a se asichire ni bi ewom enso osi yen ye 1D 1F no ayaye no a factories no ato apete na eba bebre no ya ntimi anye pamochew 1D 1F no ewo ngoma we mu ma kire mu ba bia mu behunu na se de yase no efe kwa wo de wo hwe se de yase atwitwa no mfoni no a efe kwa ukọ ngoma no mu a behu 1D 1F ayaye de ye wie de ye dwene ho ni nyina ewo ngoma no ni nyina ewo ngoma no efiri na ekro ni se obia eyiraw edadawo ndc ni bi dadawo se 1D 1F anyeye si ayem mienu kura ya ba akobro mo de so se mienu pepo ni ya ba akobro mo de so efse ba akope no mo ntimi ye komenda esi ho ay green elephant enti madawroma de adro no aya kandi ho asem ne yeka momwa na Ghana fo ensem ni ehu de obetimi de omayi akonanim akandi pa ekwanso enwa na yesrem anidiem se momwa na Ghana fo nti de ekosonase yen to aba ne yenti ase se enye obi a or Bekasa, onye na dream said, Bosha wash and obey so. If so, can be a quack. And from stomach direction. And you be a tifma or ye, Jumana. A Juman's woman so ye, I saw any. I wait me a chill say, a Juma my yinti, may sa to us what the work on say. Sir, and so Suyano, and there was a mutimi, a boy, a ma yadeba, na Ghana for Moko Tuaba, 7th December 2020. Or Matuaba pa, and idiom, na yetimi atwa Ghana Jumapana, ye yenesu. Nanado Tihon ye, Yahunu dear oye. Was yengi mau enye adia wunti menye. And as he say ye jina the oti hon ye. Any de wenti mianye. Ah was yengi in free the oye and ho emano. Na fe no kusia. Eno ene da ye nyina yanim. Ya mi hira mo pi sempa ya damwasi.
Thank you so much, Director. Once again, let's give him a round of applause. Please, 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 let's hear it for him. Thank you so much. I know you are itching to ask questions. Those of you who are willing to ask 1 or 2 questions about our manifesto, you're welcome to do so. I believe largely, Director touched on what the contents of the manifesto of the New Patriotic Party for 2020 election is. And I believe that you listened earnestly to what he had to say. Greatly so, you have some questions to ask. We shall admit 1 or 2 questions before he takes his seat. Please, if you have a question, shall we go? You can move to the microphone if you have a question. There, the gentleman there. Please, your name and the media house you're coming from. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Latif Idris. I enjoy news. I just want a bit of clarity on the point you made about government now giving the power to purchase vehicles and be distributed to the public sector. The Agyapong royalties. And the former president's brother's business of mining boxes. I want to find out from you, there was a press conference by, they also had issues with the current SPV. I just want to read a portion of what they had to say in their statement.
It's okay. Let's go for it. It's okay.
So you're aware of that press conference, I guess?
I appreciate the question.
Okay. So the point they are making is that they describe the deal as a hurriedly carried through deal. And it creates, I just want to be specific, so I just want to read what they said at the press conference. That they made the emphatic statement that the rushed amendment inserted worrying clauses, including clauses that lifted the SPV Agyapong royalties above Ghanaian tax laws and waived Ghana's sovereign immunity, thereby exposing the country to the risk of damaging lawsuits should any future government seek.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
What?
Your question, yes.
Can we?
Let me your question.
Because
so
I think I appreciate his question.
How do you address this challenge the CSOs have identified in this special purpose vehicle as far as the Agyapong royalties deal is concerned?
Thank you.
Well, thank you. And please make sure your question is very short and straight to the point, please. We take another question?
We've asked them to use their media to engage the public. So I think he's trying very hard to engage across.
Thank you.
Shall we look at that? If you go to page 179 of the manifesto, it sets out the transport sector recapitalization project, TSRP, And we are looking for long-term, efficient financing mechanisms for commercial transport owners or operators. And to do that, over the next 4 years, we are implementing, are you listening? Where's the gentleman? We are implementing a government-backed, private sector-led, lease-to-own financing arrangement. It's like work and pay. When somebody brings in a used car from abroad and you can't afford to pay for it, he says, take it and work and pay. Then he doubles the cost because you are not paying for it. He takes interest up front. Then you work and pay off about 3/4 of that money, and the vehicle breaks down, you lose all your money. Now we are saying that you can, as a commercial operator, trotro, taxi, any kind of car, Uber, you can get a work and pay arrangement pre-financed by government-backed lease arrangement. So you don't have to pay upfront, and your work and pay will be consistent. You will pay back the lease gradually, and you own the vehicle as you go forward. So it's a major, major change on the transportation front. And this is not only going to commercial people. We are saying that a component of it will extend to financial arrangements for teachers, nurses, doctors, and other healthcare professionals to acquire vehicles through government-backed private sector leases. We hope that the TSRP will boost the market for vehicle leasing, locally assembled vehicles, light manufacturing industries, and distribution of automobile parts, as well as the recycled market. Now, Agyapa, what we are asking for, it's not just Agyapa. I'm looking at Sino Hydro as well. First of all, this has been transparently done. It was not hurriedly done. It is being conceived and executed over 2 years. The Minerals Income Investment Fund was set up in 2018. Do you know that? Are you aware of that? So is that a hurry? What was the objects of the Income Investment Fund, which was set up in 2018? To mobilize our mineral income and, if possible, collateralize it and securitize it for major heavy investment funds. This was back in 2018. Then, as you seek to operationalize that, you realize that the Minerals Income Investment Fund as a body may not be able to engage not the most vibrant at the moment. So if we all accept that there's a need to mobilize our income upfront, then how do we get the best benefit out of it? Because Parliament passed the Minerals Income Investment Fund. And Parliament is made up of the MPP and the NDC. And this time they didn't work out. They were there when it was passed. The Hansard shows that their MPs were happy that we were finally bringing some interest into the little drips and drabs of mineral income that we get itself may not meet the needs of the rules offshore if we are going to play in a competitive market. And mind you, it is that offshore market we go and borrow. That is where we go for our Euro bond. That is where we go for loans from the IMF and the World Bank. So why can't we be a player there? So to play there, you have to have a subsidiary which will play according to the rules there. And that is why you have Agyapa Royalties Limited. Am I making sense so far? So Agyapa Royalties is conceived and implemented in such a way that it can be a player offshore, That is the bottom line. Now, what we are asking you to do, again, beyond the Japan, is Sino-Hydro. The NDC went as far as to go to Washington to damage our prospects before the World Bank with a spurious letter against Sino-Hydro. And it turns out, before Sino-Hydro, that without any transparency, without due process, without parliament, dispassionately looking at the larger strategic picture, we must begin to move forward. We cannot continue to be a small player if we want to be the hub, the go-to hub. We've tried the Gateway project. We are building ports. We are building airports. We are within West Africa, a potential market of 300 million, hopefully by now rising to the 400 millions. We are within the larger continental market now. We are headquartered here. The African, what? You remember it? Tell me what the name is.
You're talking about a free trade.
Yeah, tell me the full name.
Continental Free Trade. The Secretariat is here.
Why are there? The African Continental Free Trade Agreement. The headquarters is here. And if we can't trade beyond Ghana, how are we going to gain any benefit from that headquarters? We must go out there and leverage what we have. Over 100 years. Look at timber. We've simply exported all the timber. There's none left. What is the benefit? We can't even keep any more forest. What did we gain? And over 100 years, the gold has been going, and we can't point to any tangible thing that we have used the money for. This time, if you want to ask us what you are going to do with the money, ask. If you are going to ask us, how will you sustain value? Ask. Ask the right questions, but don't impugn motives that appear to negate the transparency with which this whole process has been clothed from the beginning. It is not hurriedly put together. The amendments were necessary to make the Minerals Investment Fund Act responsive to the need to set up an SPV capable of operating in an international market. That the amendments were not passed before Parliament rose and approved the agreement is that the agreements were approved subject the deal, the Japan royalties deal. It's not law and it's not a valid deal. I am hoping the president will assent to it. I'm not going to get into a debate about it. I have given you an answer. Give somebody else an opportunity to ask a question, and then we'll wrap up. No.
Please.
You can engage. We can engage elsewhere. I will not turn this into a one-on-one with you.
Yes.
I can come to your studio later.
Okada, which will come with training. And member of parliament for, in your party.
I haven't seen that, but that is not the position of the government at the moment.
Let me quote him. He was saying that personally, at my constituency, the fact that many young are involved in Okada business, if you ask me, I would say we should legalize Okada, but we should legalize it in a way that will not bring disaster. This morning, the president of the Okada Association was saying that The Okada business has employed. Yeah, we do have. Yes, but they form as this. Good. You can see that. So the business has employed over 800,000 Ghanaians, and we've seen big men patronizing Okada. Is the MPP going to give it a second look by legalizing it, or they are still against it?
The MPP's transport policy is in its manifesto. I will urge you to read it. We have a solid transport policy in the manifesto. And I'm glad you said that the chairman said personally. He used the word personally. It is not government policy. 800,000. Did you see the data? How many drivers are in the current informal sector? GPRTU, Progressive, and all those people. How many of them? How many of them? And you are telling me that 800,000 motorbikes are circulating in this country. So please, you are the media. Check before you jump. But the bottom line is that the MPP has a comprehensive transportation policy. We are going to implement programs that are integrated from automobile manufacture, creating jobs and incomes right there, through to bank-financed access to commercial vehicles, creating jobs and incomes right there, to private sector opportunities to acquire vehicles in safety and comfort, to pay very little for that. And all of that is designed to expand transportation, expand incomes and opportunities, improve the quality of public transport and access to public transport, as well as safety. We have our policy here. Please read it.
Well, the last question for us.
Leaders, we are inviting civil society influencers to engage on the large strategic issues. Objectively, we are inviting them to look at the sequence of events about any process that we undertake, including the fact that in Agyapong matter, 2 years have taken place. 2 years have gone by while that process was taking place. And that anything to make it more efficient is welcome. We are prepared to engage, but let us subsume the assumption of, there's a certain assumption of mischief or shadiness that cannot transcend the transparency that Parliament brings to this process. Everything is going through Parliament, and it will be implemented in the public space. Engage, and I believe that government will give you the answers. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. Please, let's give him a round of applause once again. Thank you so much. In the absence of any further questions, I think that will bring this press briefing to a close. We thank you for coming. Once again, we're going to continue doing this, and we've always encouraged that it should be politics based on issues, like the MPP has always done. Thank you so much, and may God bless you all. Assalamu alaikum.